Okay, so today we're going to do an editorial on jerkbait fishing. Now, when I first started out, I didn't really know what I was doing when it came to jerkbait fishing. So I, like all of you, one point or another, you went on YouTube. You Googled it. And you went to Walmart, you went to Dick's Sporting Goods, wherever, and you bought the rod and the reel that first expert on YouTube said to use. And they said, majority of them said that you needed a medium spinning rod and reel combo with a 6-to-5-1 gear ratio, and you need to spool it up with 6 to 8 pound monofilament. Okay, so I did that. Now, I couldn't afford all these different jerk bait brands that professional was recommending, so I went to Walmart, picked up a couple of Rapalers, and I casted that Rapaler out, and I created the action, that jerking action that the professional said. And I was getting the action down, and things were working out the way that professional. But I just wasn't having very much luck. So I gave up on the whole jerkbait idea for a while, and one day I decided to check out some other videos on jerkbait fishing. Maybe that first couple of guys didn't know what they were talking about. Well, I came across another guy on YouTube. This time he recommended a medium heavy with a larger reel and a slower gear ratio. This is a 5-0-1, and he said fluorocarbon. I needed fluorocarbon line. Okay, so that had to be the right answer. Well, this time for sure I was going to catch more than one bass. I was going to catch as many as I could in one day, and I even went and spent some money on the brands these professionals were recommended. The Yozuri, and I even spent the money on the Mega Bass 110. Those ideas of that guy didn't really pan out that well either. Well, one day I was online shopping around, and I came across the Mega Bass XD70 trick darters. Now, yes, these are, they're quite pricey, and I decided, well, you know what? I would go ahead and purchase 2 of them. And that's what I did. I purchased 2 Mega Bass XD70 trick darters. This time I was going to take almost all of the advice those professionals gave and throw it right out the window. I wasn't interested in buying another rod and reel setup. So I went down to the local river with the same old rod and reel setup I've always used, and a few more jerk baits. This time I was going to go ahead and just use the gear that I already owned. I wasn't going to go out and be influenced to purchase a different rod and reel setup according to the experts. So I took my 7-foot medium heavy bait casting rod and reel setup with an 8:2 gear ratio and 30-pound braided line. Now, all of those experts, they suggested that, and they said it in all of those videos, that this setup was taboo. They didn't think a bait casting rod and reel setup was appropriate for jerkbait fishing. They strongly advised against braided line, and they said I had to have a slower gear ratio. Well, they were wrong. They were all wrong. Now, between the Megabass XD70 trick darters and my medium heavy bait casting rod and reel setup with the 8:2 gear ratio and the 30-pound braided line, I was now catching bass at a much higher rate. And what I noticed, what I figured out was, number one, the heavier rod along with this braided line and a better designed jerkbait. Okay, I was creating a more erratic, I was creating more movement, which really drew the bass into striking. So I used the rod and reel combo I wanted. I picked up a brand and style jerkbaits that I liked, and now I discovered major differences. The Rapala, the Yuzuri, the Guggen Squad, the Strike King. They were all fishing good. They were all fishing well enough, but they just weren't targeting the strikes in a number that was making me happy. But the Megabass XD70 trick darters, along with my preferred rod and reel setup, the one that I had confidence in using, because I've been using that same setup for years. I now had all these pieces of the puzzle coming together, and the one piece of puzzle that kept coming up was color selection. So I selected one that had a combination of all the colors that kept coming up, and the color combinations that kept coming up was blue, green, translucent, stripes. Now, the Megabass XD70 trick darter in the eagle bone was covering the blue, the green, the stripes, and the translucent features. Next, I thought, well, you know, I need something that's going to stand out. And that's when I decided to go ahead and try my luck with the French pearl color. This stood out as, you know, it stood out from everything else that I was seeing in the lakes, in the rivers, you know. So the French pearl made an easy target. The eagle bone in its color and color pattern made an obvious target, for it looked like all the other. So I found a successful means of jerkbait fishing, and it wasn't the experts telling me I had to have their setup. It was me having confidence in my setup. It was keeping at it, finding the brand and the colors that worked best for where I was, for my mindset. I mean, let's see here. You can have yourself a sexy shad pattern. You can have yourself a shiner pattern. If you don't have confidence in the color, or in this case color combination, that matches the hatch, matches the forage, it matches what the bass in your local pond, lake, or river are eating on, you're not going to spend too much time jerkbait fishing. So between something that stood out, created separation from all the other species of bait fish, and matching the hatch, I now had a combination between the two lures to go out there every day of the week in jerkbait fish. So the point I'm trying to make, match the hatch, find something that stands out to create separation, make it an easy target, and use the gear you have confidence in. Okay? So I hope you find this video helpful, and I've encouraged more anglers to, well, in the words of Mike Iaconelli, never give up. Okay? Never give up, because, well, these guys have in my opinion, have outfished everything else. The action they create is created in a distance of inches rather than feet. And when you need to create action within inches in order to be more successful, all the pieces of the puzzle have to come together for you. Otherwise, you're not going to be very successful in jerkbait fishing. It's that simple. You have to have a jerkbait that's going to either stand out or match the hatch. You have to have a jerkbait that is going to move the way it was designed to move, the way it was designed to be used in inches of, and when I say inches, I mean distance-wise. You need the jerkbait to get up and move in the way it was designed to move in 6 inches, not 2 feet. Okay? You need to clear your head that you need a suspending jerkbait. You need a jumping jerkbait. Now, you need one that reacts upon the movement of the rod within inches of length, not feet. So, I hope this helps sort out all the confusion for some of you, Some people you just can't reach, but that's a different story, right? Okay, so until next time.